Jimmy Kimmel is getting desperate. The Disney-sponsored late-night TV host can now boast he's losing to Greg Gutfeld by 1 million viewers. And the audience is still shrinking even further. But what Kimmel recently did with a skit mocking Vice President JD Vance is so vile, so unbecoming, that people are coming around to the idea that the juggy, loving man show baby, just maybe, shouldn't have a job anymore.
Bring me a fresh one of those peanut spreads.
A baguette.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we as ever endeavor to explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve, let you know what's going on with the Holly Weirds. And yes, we understand those Holly Weirds even better than they understand themselves. Folks, all we ask is that you click the like button. We'll get started, and we've got the full clip of what Jimmy Kimmel said and how disgusting it is. The entire thing should remove him from TV. We'll let you see what's going on. Disney should be ashamed. Bob Iger has some splaining to do, but first, we go to the ratings. Gutfeld, it's cable news. It's a cable news show that's humorous that comes on at 10 p.m. Eastern. Well, it has 2.7 million viewers right now, 2.7 million viewers. Jimmy Kimmel, which is supposed to be, the big one, right? Jimmy Kimmel has 1.7 million viewers. That means a million viewer gap. Network versus cable TV. And then if you look at this, Gutfeld is up 30% and rising. Meanwhile, Jimmy Kimmel dropping 2.25%. But why? Why could it be happening? Well, to find out, we go to latenighter.com. And by the way, I want to send a big shout out to the author over there, Nick Ricardo, doing a fantastic job. We're going to do something we don't typically do, folks. We're going to play essentially the entire skit. I'm going to pause it at times and just walk you through what's going on here. But Jimmy Kimmel has gone too far, I think. And as we watch this, what you should think about is, would anyone of any political stripe ever do this to Kamala Harris? Would any comedian of any stripe ever do this with Joe Biden, with Barack Obama? The answer will be no, because this is so low. This is so base, and not based, but in terms of like primitive. It's the kind of humor you would see out of middle school boys flicking boogers on a wall. All right, here we go, folks. Here's what we've got. We'll show it all from Jimmy Kimmel live.
Term right now. JD Vance has been far away in Paris for the past couple of days, speaking at an international AI summit. I have not seen much coverage of this because Trump occupies every minute of every day. So I thought it might be interesting to check in and see how it's going with the Vice President of the United States, Mr. JD Vance.
So to give you some idea of where this is going, that is the depiction of Vice President JD Vance, played by the kid from Sixth Sense. Yeah, he's still around. Haley. Hey, Haley. Mr. Osborne there is playing Vice President JD Vance, and he is drinking from a bidet. Now, if you don't know what a bidet is a place that you stick your posterior and you spray the water so that you clean yourself and your nether regions. And they are depicting right off the bat, the first thing you see of Vice President JD Vance is him drinking water like a dog from a bidet. So we go back to the question. Would they ever do this with Kamala Harris? Would they ever do this with Joe Biden, Barack Obama? The answer, of course, is no. Hillary Clinton? No. But they do this, and it's so low, it's so pathetic, it's below comedy, really. We'll play the rest of it, but just wanted you to know what it is they're doing.
Mr. Vice President, can you hear me? Hello? JD?
One second. I'm just getting a big old drink of this Evion they got on tap here.
You'll notice that he has a French cap on that says the slogan that the Trump campaign uses, Make America Great Again. And you'll also notice that Haley Osborne is using a Southern redneck accent to depict JD Vance, who wrote the Hillbilly Eulogy. So they're full-blown anti... they just dislike a lot of people. And stereotypes are totally cool with them, especially if it's aimed at the right kind of people, the kind of people they disagree with.
Yes, it's called Evian, and I believe that's actually a bidet you're drinking out of.
Well, whatever it is, it sure hits the spot. Look at me. I'm like one of those poodles the Haitians were eating in Ohio.
Okay. Are you enjoying your time in Paris?
Heck no, I am not. I ate what I thought was a booger yesterday. It turned out to be a snail. Yuck!
Okay, well, I don't. Anyway, what is it that you are doing in France?
I am in France to find that place where the naked ladies dance and shut it down.
Okay, and how's that going so far?
Lord Jesus hath not prepared me for the moral depravity over here.
So now they're making fun of Southern or Southeastern American Christians. Because that's what they're aiming that at, right? So JD Vance, they're trying to mock him for his religious faith, although he is, I believe JD Vance is Catholic, I think. And so, but they're giving JD Vance like a Southern evangelical kind of tinge. The whole thing's just nasty. I mean, every bit of this is just ugly. And the reason for that is because they're not actually laughing about things that are really happening. These are just ugly, nasty stereotypes that they're using to completely mock in the most juvenile ways their opposition. But none of this has anything to do with reality. It's just monstrously presented. We'll continue on. Remember, all of this is sponsored by Disney, by the way. And again, would they ever do this to the other side? Well, you watched 4 years of it, did they?
I have personally confiscated dozens of dildos from the bicycle baskets of these hairy-painted perverts.
Now, folks, I apologize that we let that word go through, but we're going to let it go through. And apologies if you've got kids around or anything like that. But this is Disney paid for. This is the Disney company. When you're thinking about going to the Disney parks, when you're thinking about going on a Disney cruise, this is what you're supporting. And you get to make the decision. And you may say, well, this is overblown, bro. And, I separate those out, right? I put those in their own little places. You might say, I compartmentalize what it is I'm paying for. You can say, well, bro, this is comedy and it's so be it. Cool. But this is what Disney is paying for, is for a depiction of vice presidents of a political bent they don't like using French bread as such an item. That's Disney. That's just so you're aware. This is what Disney is doing.
They call them baguettes.
No, they don't. I think that's just a loaf of bread you're holding.
Oh, well, you won't want to eat one after what I've done with it.
Okay.
Would they do that with Kamala Harris?
Now, are you meeting with people, with officials, and no?
No, sirree.
Oh.
This place is teeming with foreigners, and Daddy Donald says that is a no-no.
Oh, speaking of Daddy Donald, did you hear what Trump said about you being his successor?
No. What did he say?
He said he doesn't see you as his successor.
No, he didn't.
He did. He said it was too soon to know.
It's fine. I'm sure he's right. He's always right.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. Are you at least seeing the sights in Paris?
I went to a museum known as the Louvre.
No, it's the Louvre. The Louvre.
Whatever these Frenchies call it. I was rudely kicked out for acting inappropriate.
Uh-oh.
Why did they even call it French kissing if you can't sex lick the Mona Lisa?
You know what? It's a real.
Now, let's remember, folks, we literally had someone who was mentally incapacitated in the office for 4 years. Never did Jimmy Kimmel, up until it was time, until they told him to make the switch, never did he make a joke about it. The disparity is amazing. And before we get all excited that Disney may be making changes, they've got The View and they've got Jimmy Kimmel they've got to deal with. These are insane people who know no level that they won't go to. Like, there is some degree, like, you've got to have a modicum of respect for the office, at least, not to do this kind of stuff where you have the person holding the office drinking water out of a bidet. And we're like 3 weeks into the Trump administration, the Trump presidency 2.0. 3 weeks in. Where is Jimmy Kimmel going to be in a year from now, right? Because wherever they are, they've got to go further to keep drawing an audience. So this is going to get worse. We're watching them as they start. This is their baseline.
Really good question, actually. Well, maybe you'll have better luck in Germany. I know you're headed there next. I will be curious to know what the German press thinks about you once referring to Trump as America's Hitler.
And why, pray tell, are you curious about that?
Well, obviously they're ashamed of Adolf Hitler, and so since you said that,
Germany had a Hitler too. Wild.
yeah, they did.
Sorry, 1 second. Come in. Entree, Boosted, Murky, Bouquet, Monsoon. Bonjour, monsieur. Jimmy, this is how these animals talk. I mean, listen to it. I hate it. I hate the way these French words feel in my ears.
Well, it's...
This is what they think of Middle America. This is what they think of the majority of Americans. See, this is the thing, folks. This is what they don't understand. Vice President JD Vance represents you. You elected Donald Trump and JD Vance to represent you. JD Vance represents the majority of Americans. JD Vance represents moderate, middle ground people. And Hollywood loved JD Vance, right up until the time he became the running mate for President Trump. They loved him, truly. Now you see what they'll do to you, given the chance, if you do anything that supports a politic outside of their purview. This is what they'll do to you. This is what they think of you. This is what they'll say about you. And this is Disney. This is why Disney must get rid of this as fast as possible. This is beneath them. This is beneath any corporation. This is beneath what should be on television, at least on network television. This is so prepubescent in its mental abilities and capacities. It's so terrible. And having the vice president, call French people animals for speaking French, and that's supposed to be comedy. It's gross.
It's their language. It's ridiculous.
Falcone, when you get a minute, bring me a fresh one of those penis breads.
A baguette.
Can you imagine if they had a joke where Kamala Harris told a French person to bring her penis bread? Can you imagine that, folks? I'm not trying to stand on a soapbox here. I'm just telling you that they would never, ever, never, ever, ever do that. And they should never do it on this side either. Right? The reason, let's go back for a minute. We'll play the rest in just a second. Let's go back. The reason they're doing this, they are desperate. Jimmy Kimmel cannot go back to the middle. He is so far left of center that there is no redemption path. He can't be moderate. He is stuck in this silo in which he exists. So how do you increase your viewership if you can only pull from the wacky, weird wokies out there? Well, you go even further. You go farther. You go more desperate, baby. And that's what they're doing. They're getting beat by Greg Gutfeld on a cable show. They're losing percentages, just like the rest of late night. But, we've said the end of late night is here. They're down 2.25% year over year. And that was measuring, by the way, the middle of the election. So they were losing at the time when they should have been gaining. This is why desperation has set in. This is why they're doing what they're doing. It's the only thing they can do as they become a corpse of what Johnny Carson built.
Hey, so what are you going to do tonight? What's the plan?
Have you ever heard of a chaise lounge?
Yes, of course I have. Yeah.
Well, I found one. And tonight, I'm going to it. Don't tell Lucia!
Okay, all right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Vice President, for your time. We really appreciate it.
Au revoir!
And that's Jimmy Kimmel Live. That's what Disney puts out there for their late night TV. If this shocked you because you're not watching late night, if you can't believe this is real, well, it is. And this is what we're supporting when we support Disney in any way. We're supporting them ending a show or a skit on late night TV, having the vice president make love to a sofa. And that's the joke. And the seals in the audience all clap and laugh because the sign tells them to. It reminds me a little bit of the Dana Carvey show that was on for about 6 episodes, if I remember correctly, back in the 90s. It went so far, so lewd that they had to remove it quickly. And by the way, Dana Carvey's funny. He just made a poor artistic decision in terms of what the censors and the advertisers were willing to put up with. But Jimmy Kimmel goes so far beyond that it's ridiculous. I mean, this doubles any kind of profane performance that you've ever seen before on network television. And we're at the beginning. Bob Iger has some splaining to do because, well, they're going to have to figure out what to do with a Jimmy Kimmel that is losing badly and is going even further into Loserville. The correct response at this point, commercially, is to replace Jimmy Kimmel. I'm not here to advocate for that. I'm not here to tell you to censor anyone. I am here to say that if you want to keep advertisers and if you want to have any kind of ratings relevancy, Jimmy Kimmel simply can't do it. He's put himself in a corner, and now he is trying to corner the market when it comes to an audience that is exceedingly and shrinkingly small, but which will only come out if you debase yourself even more with this kind of comedy that really isn't funny. It's just propaganda. Folks, that's the video for noontime today. Hope you're having a fine day on a Monday. And we do realize that many parts of the country are frozen. Man, it's been a cold winter for some of us, right? Meanwhile, if you're down in Florida, you're having a great time. You hear the folks over in Phoenix, Arizona are having a lovely sunny day. But, well, those of you out there in anywhere else land, it's cold. Hope you're having a good time, though. Stay warm, drink some hot cocoa, find some coffee, if you will. Folks, like, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts about all of this. And as we often say, or perhaps even always say, as we end the show, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Hey everyone, I'm Wilton the Troll, and I got a really important PAS. I just feel it's important to take a moment to reflect on the current slate of Star Wars movie. I mean, we haven't had a woman take the lead on any Star Wars projects whatsoever in Star Wars yet. And that's partly because other women who are leading Star Wars, they don't want to let that happen, which totally isn't stereotypical of women. Am I right, ladies? But here we are, with director Charmin Abinadab Chinook or something. Anyway, she's a woman who's bringing a lot of weight to Star Wars because of her, pedigree. And yes, it's time for a woman to lead Star Wars. I mean, saying that has totally worked in every other sphere of life, especially politics. Come on, Hillary Clinton, you tell them that it's time for a woman to smash that patriarchy. Anyway, that's all I have to say, and I think it's important for you to know that. Thank you.